Hello, I am Summit Police Chief Andrew Bartolotti. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about the Summit Police Department. The death of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer who took an oath to protect the community is tragic. As a law enforcement officer and chief of police, I find it equally tragic and deplorable that others sworn to protect and serve stood idly by and did not intervene. They are equally responsible. These actions are contrary to the training and manner in which police services are provided by members of the Summit Police Department. And that is the message that I want to share. At the Tuesday, June 2nd and Thursday, June 4th protest marches, seeing so many young members of the community come together with raised voices was inspiring. Our officers worked with the organizers to create a safe route for the march, and then engaged in traffic safety protocols wearing reflective vests over regular uniforms. In most protest situations, we do not take a side. On this one, we are on the same side as the protesters. Black lives matter, and police misconduct towards people of color must end. The days since my swearing in as your chief of police and the 2 months prior as officer in charge have been filled with highs and lows. Challenging moments where we needed to pull together and get the job done, as well as proud moments where the character of our officers avoided emotionally charged situations from escalating, and witnessing the kindness and generosity of this wonderful community carried us all through. I would like to share on the Summit Police Department reporting and share some departmental statistics. I will be as transparent as possible with this information and hope that following my presentation, you will be as confident as I am that the Summit Police Department is committed to being an ally for all our citizens, especially our Black citizens, and a vital safety resource for our entire community. The Summit Police Department follows the New Jersey Attorney General's policy on police use of force. This policy outlines guidelines as to how much force may be applied in a given situation. It is based on the standard of a continuum, where law enforcement is guided by the principle that the degree of force employed in any situation should be reasonably necessary. This policy specifically prohibits the use of chokeholds, neck restraints, or similar tactics, except in very limited situations in which deadly force is necessary to address an immediate threat to life. Additionally, this policy also reinforces the responsibility of law enforcement officers to take action to prevent or stop the illegal or inappropriate use of force by other officers. I would like to point out that the New Jersey Attorney General's policy on use of force is more restrictive than national standards, in that it incorporates the use of force policy changes that are identified in the 8 Can't Wait policy reform campaign. A link to the current policy is on the police department page of the city's website. The statistics I have available to share are from 2016 to present day on use of force. In order to interpret the data accurately, Summit Police reporting practice needs to be understood. We report every instance where contact with an actor is made, inclusive of minor scratches, abrasions, or complaint of pain. It is required reporting for our department, but not for all police departments. Since 2016, officers in the Summit Police Department have used force on 29 occasions. The incident types include 12 involved crimes in progress, 10 involved emotionally disturbed individuals, 4 involved alcohol or substance-related incidents, 2 involved domestic violence assaults, 1 involved a fight in progress. The demographics include 22 were white actors, of which 2 were female, 4 Hispanic actors, 3 African American actors. The subject's actions. 18 of the 29 incidents involved the subject resisting the officer's control only. 11 of the 29 incidents involved the subject resisting the officer's control and physically threatening and or attacking the officer. The level of force utilized. 21 of the 29 incidents involved the lowest amount of force of compliance hold only. In 6 of the 29 cases, a compliance hold was utilized, and the officer had to escalate to the next level of force, using a hand or fist to subdue the subject. In 1 of the 29 cases, the actor escalated the attack to the next level, where a compliance hold, hands or fists, and kicks or feet were used to subdue the subject. In 1 of the 29 cases, the officer had to use OC spray to the face to subdue the subject. 15 of the 29 actors were arrested. 14 were transported to the hospital for either alcohol or mental health treatment. 0 subjects were killed. 0 subjects sustained serious bodily injury. 0 subjects required medical treatment or hospitalization as a result of the force being utilized. And 1 officer received medical treatment for injuries sustained. From 2015 to present, there were 2 complaints for use of excessive force. In 2018, a third-party complainant reported excessive force by an officer, specifically the use of a raised arm motion and verbal commands. The officer was exonerated of any wrongdoing after the investigation revealed the officer gave verbal commands to separate 2 parties that were engaged in a verbal altercation, and the complainant indicated that he misinterpreted what he had seen. In 2019, 3 officers were the subject of an internal affairs review of excessive force being reported by a third party. The investigation exonerated all 3 officers of wrongdoing after it was revealed that the officers were misidentified as hospital security officers. When considering traffic stops, it is not entirely accurate to make comparisons based on population statistics for the City of Summit, as enforcement includes non-resident traffic stops. In 2019, the Summit Police Department conducted 8,723 motor vehicle stops. The demographics of the drivers were as follows. In 5,405 cases, the driver was white or non-Hispanic. In 1,372 cases, the driver was black. In 1,201 cases, the driver was Hispanic. In 561 cases, the driver was Asian or Pacific Islander. And in 184 of the cases, the driver was identified as other. Although the recording of driver demographics is not mandated, the Summit Police Department has been collecting this data for several years as a means of an early warning system to identify racial inequality in motor vehicle stops. To ensure this information is collected from each encounter, the computer-aided dispatch system in use by our agency makes this information a requirement before the incident is able to be completed. Officers within the Summit Police Department receive training that is above the minimum mandates by the state and includes, amongst others, bias-based profiling, use of force, substance abuse, and response to persons with mental illness. Although there is no statewide mandate, in the fall of 2018, the Summit Police Department acquired and mandated the use of body-worn cameras for all uniformed personnel to increase transparency and accountability of our officers. Additionally, a companion mandate is in place for the use of in-car video cameras for all of our marked police vehicles. Our Internal Affairs Unit has grown over the years, from responding to and investigating allegations of officer misconduct and administrative policy violations, to taking on a role of proactive oversight, designed to detect patterns and trends in police conduct before that conduct escalates. Under the guidance of the Internal Affairs Unit, supervisory and commanding officers conduct daily reviews of calls for service, motor vehicle stops, officer reports, use of force incidents, body camera footage, and physical observation of officer encounters with the public. Through this review, in conjunction with other factors, the Internal Affairs Unit evaluates each officer across a set of performance indicators to objectively measure potentially escalating harmful behavior by an officer. The Summit Police Department Internal Affairs Policy adopts the guidelines established by the Attorney General for the state of New Jersey. Inclusive in those guidelines is the regular reporting of all internal affairs allegations and complaints and investigations to the Union County Prosecutor's Office. Additionally, the guidelines require us to report and forward all criminal allegations against a Summit police officer to the Prosecutor's Office for an independent investigation. Only those cases that are considered administrative complaints or violations are investigated by the Department's Internal Affairs Unit. As we move forward, as the new Chief of Police, one of my top priorities is to conduct a comprehensive review of Summit Police Department policies and procedures to align our agency with best practices in law enforcement. This process is a critical step in establishing expectations for professional, ethical, and accountable policing within our community. Another focus of my new administration is to pursue certification as an accredited law enforcement agency. Accreditation is a self-initiated, voluntary process and is based on standards which are reflective of best practice in law enforcement. The accreditation process provides for a non-biased, independent assessment of the department as measured against acceptable standards in policing. Through this comparison, accreditation improves public safety services by either validating current policies and practices or mandating and facilitating the change of any non-compliant areas. Transformation of a police organization, their role, and their relationship with the community requires the agency as a whole and its leadership to not only understand, but to embrace the necessary changes in areas such as organizational culture, accountability and transparency, discriminatory police encounters, use of force, enhanced training on areas such as implicit bias, conflict resolution, cultural awareness, and bias-based profiling. Another area being reviewed is the regional dispatch center that serves the City of Summit. Many residents and callers are still unaware that the police dispatcher they are communicating with is not an employee of the police department or the city. Over the years, this has generated some discussion as to the manner in which information is collected from the caller and transmitted to the responding officers. Under the direction of their new executive director, we are collaborating with them on the introduction of a quality assurance and training program to ensure their organization is meeting best practice in supporting the delivery of police service in our community. There is a groundswell of support for police policy change and action. While many of our procedures exceed minimum national standards, we recognize there is always a need to improve the system in which we operate. The Summit Police Department is committed to be an ally for Black and Brown citizens and to implement vital safety resources for them. Thank you for your time and attention.